Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday. One more day until Friday. One day more. We were just talking about Les Miserables.
We were.
And Jean Valjean and Colette.
You can imagine why. We'll just let your imaginations run wide.
I really didn't even think anything about your outfit. I mean,
you were the one who called it Jean Valjean last time.
No,
That's
I don't
why
know that I did. I think normally when you wear this jacket, it's like the Mickey. Oh no, that's the red one.
Yeah.
The Mickey jacket.
This was Les Mis. Yeah. Thanks.
I
I said I was just waiting to tell him when he made that comment today. I was going to be like, oh, I had to wait until they were done with the show at Chase to get it back. Like, where is it?
I think we did a pretty good job matching though today. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, very nice. Well, we just started talking about Les Mis and what a great show it is, but also at the same time, what a depressing show it is. Like I was like, you forget all the stuff that happens. And then you go see it again and you're like, oh my God.
Back down. The French Revolution. I mean, it was not a
happy time.
No. Let him eat cake is what she said.
Great show though.
Melly loves your hair and your outfit today, Catherine.
Thanks.
Lauren says, you guys look great. Peter, very intuitive here.
Astute. He's astute.
One of you should flip the switch for outside. So we often talk about how it gets very hot in here. And there's a little switch on the other side of the wall here. And obviously, Katie likes it warm. I like it cold. And so Katie sometimes turns it off. It controls the air conditioner. And it gets very hot in here. So I said, can we flip the switch?
We had quite the back and forth yesterday.
Because yesterday was a little bit different. Like I have a really hard time when it is stagnant, when the air is stagnant.
It wasn't stagnant. It was freaking freezing in here. And so like he has the switch on and then he goes out one door. So then I went out the other door and I just made a circle back around and I flipped it back. And then he went out the other door and made a circle back around and flipped it. So it was just like a back and forth. This thing's going to break and they're going to be like, who's been flipping the switch so much?
And then they're going to put a lock on it and we're all going to be screwed.
And the answer to all of their questions would be in second cup, but
no one knows.
No one knows, yeah.
Melly says, my office was hot as could be yesterday. Today it's freezing. Flip the switch for the weather. And Lori says, I know. Can you believe the snow? What blew my mind yesterday, I came home from the gym about 5:45 and I came home bright and sunny. I needed sunglasses. I walked inside and like that, I looked out the window and it was like a snow globe. The wind was blowing. The snow was whipping. It was unreal. And then 15 minutes later, the sun's out again. Like, what the hell happens here?
Kenneth, I'm taking a picture of your comment and I'm sending it to our digital guy. So hopefully he can get that figured out for you.
You know, I also mentioned this to Evan, our engineer, a couple of days ago, too. So Evan actually never texted me back. So Evan, if you're listening, you're on blast right now.
So it's so funny because, like, obviously we aren't watching on the app and things like this. So like the one problem we were having, my dad was the one who pointed it out the one time because he's like, our 716 in 2 minutes on the website kept being stories instead of the, and so DJ's like, what's going on? And so then he figured it out afterwards. But it was like my dad who alerted me because we just are here, right? So you get to. But Kenneth, thanks for letting us know.
Patty, I said the same thing. Had sunshine 1 minute, then a blizzard. Really, it's unbelievable. Linda says it is unreal. We had 2 accidents on our hill. Linda's in Brant.
It was slippery yesterday, and it was really windy.
Kim says it's so cold today. Lauren says it was so bad here too. Went to see Grandma and it was horrible there. A whiteout there. She's talking about Eden in particular. Marianne, good morning to you. Can we get Ed a fan? It could be on remote and he can control it. Marianne, let me actually give you a little behind the scenes knowledge here. Stand by for just a second because, whoops, Hurricane Ed. Under the desk is a little fan because, well, first of all, it's like a cluster F of wires down here. So let me see if I can just fix this up real quick.
This is the Katie show now. We can't even see you.
The fan is
got
here.
This teeny little fan down there.
Because,
don't worry, he labeled it with his name.
Well, because people like to steal things here.
Nobody else wants your tiny fan. It's freezing in here.
You know what? It was on my desk for a while, and I just didn't want it to grow legs and disappear mysteriously. So I labeled it, put my name on it.
Oh, Melanie saw her first Robin yesterday.
Okay, listen to this.
I had a Robin issue too.
Okay, I was in Walking Gladys, and there's this one tree in somebody's front yard. There were 6 robins. It was like coffee talk. They were all chirping yesterday. but they were all
They're-
fat as can be.
They're catching back up.
I think that they are pregnant. I think they're getting ready to lay eggs.
Let me tell you what happened to me. I picked the dog up at daycare the other day. I go to turn into my driveway. Here's this robin just sitting there in my driveway. So I'm like, I move my car a little closer. It's just sitting there. I back up the car. I move it a little bit closer. Like, oh, maybe it's still sitting there. I'm like, you've got to be kidding
What
me.
happened?
Well, I put the car in park. I got out of the car.
Does it hurt?
I left the dog in the car. No, but I like go, doot, 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 come on, because I didn't want to run it over. I mean, this thing did not move. Instead of like fleeing, it just walks up the driveway a little further. I'm like, come on.
Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it is somebody from your past life.
Those are cardinals.
No, but still, it could be any. I mean, maybe it comes back as something
Well,
else.
after leaving my running car in the middle of the street, because my dog's in it, like, "Ah," and I'm like, oh my God, finally got this thing to go. But stubborn little guy.
Kenneth says there were at least 10 robins in my driveway yesterday. I'm telling you, when I saw this yesterday, I could not have made it up. There were 6 of them.
Thank you. Patty says they're stubborn and territorial.
Oh,
I mean, I was like, let's go. Come on, honey bun.
come on.
Got to make a little move here.
Diane, good morning to you. What is that little fan supposed to do? Diane, I'm telling you, when it gets going, it's a vornado. So, I mean, listen to it. It's got some power behind it. It's a little fan, but doesn't it feel really good?
No,
You don't think so?
I don't need that little fan right now.
Oh God, when I get a hot flash, there's nothing that can cure it.
Jeff Baker says I should have just kept driving because they'll move. Jeff, I was not going to chance
No,
that.
that's
I do
terrible.
not need that on like my
Conscience.
no. And then I'd be like, Paul, there's a smashed robin in the driveway. No, I'm not doing that.
See, exactly, Lori. Birds are signs from loved ones who crossed over. See, I understand it's cardinals, but maybe they came back. Like, what do they call it? Reincarnation?
Stubborn as heck. Yeah, that could definitely be some people I knew. My mom says robins lay eggs one at a time on consecutive days. The mother doesn't start to sit on the eggs until they're all laid.
Is this the time of year? I asked Aaron this question too,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I don't know if you've noticed a lot of the trees. You've noticed this, the magnolia tree we're talking about. There is a huge tree in the median by my house, and it's already starting to green. And this typically doesn't happen until about May. And here we are at the end of March.
You know, remember I showed you the picture today. There's this magnolia tree on one of the streets I walk Bandit on. I'm like obsessed with it. I told that I take pictures of it. I showed him a picture this morning. Let me see when I took that picture, when it was all in full bloom and beautiful. April 22nd.
Wow. Yeah, so we're about
Last year.
a month early.
April 22nd is when I took that picture. I
Mhm.
love this tree. Oh, now here's another one from the year before, April 20th.
Yes, so
But-
we're a month ahead. Yeah.
They're not quite this big yet, but they are getting
Well,
closer.
but don't they say April showers bring May flowers? I mean, like, this is too early. We are way
Mayflower spring.
pilgrims. We are way ahead of time. Howard says maples are blossoming already. The red blossoms under the trees are showing now way too early. Yeah.
MB thinks this is a little early for laying eggs.
Lori says, I heard the birds are confused with the solar eclipse coming. And the plants, Kim says, are also confused this year. Yeah.
Oh, my mom's right. Between mid-April and mid-August. Maybe they're
robins?
just fattening up to
I
be able to and making the eggs, like you said.
yeah. Are they pregnant? Is that how it works?
Yeah, of course that's how it works.
Sarah says, yes, my mom picked a whole bouquet of daffodils already. Oh my God.
Paul last year decided that he wanted tulips, and you have to plant them in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
So he got a bag from Home Depot and just started planting. There are like 40 tulips coming.
Everywhere.
They are all over the place in the front of our house. Like they're gonna look really cute, I'm sure, but like we're gonna have a lot of tulips.
Marguerite says, I wonder how cherry blossoms are going to fare this year. So the Cherry Blossom
Yeah.
Festival is set for April 27th. Howard says, just wait on the eclipse. Everyone will be like a full moon mentality. It's going to get weird around
weird.
here. Melly says, I planted my tulips. Can't wait to see if they come up.
Ours are already like this big. I'm
Wow.
not kidding.
I have seen literal flowers like it's summertime.
We had those. Oh God, what were they again, guys? Were they hyacinths? Is that what they were?
Oh, yeah.
The little
Mhm.
ones.
Like you get at Easter
I
time.
mean, they're full on bloomed. They're
Yeah.
in their front yard. The end.
Patty says, our trees are going to be losing leaves in August. And then Julie says, honestly, I'm feeling pretty confused these days. Howard says his irises are showing already.
Yeah.
I love tulips, Lori says.
You know what? While we're on this plant cake, may I ask just one quick question to our plant people here? We have those tall grasses.
Mhm.
They just basically come down they just fall on the ground, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the season. I did not cut them last fall. I don't know why. I just didn't. And so now they're just like laying. I could just cut those right now and
Actually,
no
I have
problem.
the answer for you
What?
because I often watch another channel on the weekends.
Oh yeah, and yeah,
And they have a gardening expert
yeah.
on.
So can I do that in the
Yes,
spring?
and
Okay.
but you don't want to cut them like all. You want to cut, then get as low as you can so that the new grass comes.
Yeah, it can
up.
come up, but it's not
Yes.
going to hurt the new grass
No.
to cut off the old. Okay.
Right.
We also have daylilies.
But just don't cut the new grass.
No, I won't. I don't. We don't see anything. We have daylilies too. I think they are in the front, and same thing with those. And Paul's like, "Those look trashy. Can you cut them?" I'm like,
wait, the daylilies.
they all went too
Well, yes, because those
at
are
the
just
end of the year.
yeah.
But I think they all come up again.
I love daylilies.
Up
They
and
are
never
so
down.
beautiful.
Good. All right, I'm going to do that.
Bob, you're onto something, but you're wrong. If we had weekend news, I'd watch here. I'm just saying.
Brittany's got a mourning dove sitting on her eggs in the evergreen out front. I hope she is okay with the snow because Friday into Saturday we're like legitimately getting snow.
Yeah,
At least
3 inches.
3 inches in Buffalo.
Look
Oh,
at
my
the
goodness
forecast
gracious.
here. No thanks. Hard pass. That's a no for me, dog.
Then look at next week. Looks great.
Howard says, I cut my tall grass last fall after the first frost, but may have done it too early.
Oh, this is really nice. Look what Jeanette said. She wanted to thank us for introducing people to events like the Conversations of Women at Work. She's going today. Never
I
would've known
love
about it.
that.
Amazing.
We had Chandra here Monday.
yeah.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
She was filling in for me. I said, can you play guest host?
She was really cool. We were talking about women getting opportunities and having
God,
opportunities.
I wish I was here for that conversation. I would have loved it.
It was really, really wonderful. And, there were a lot of takeaways.
Yeah.
And it's just about providing opportunities for each other, really, at the end of the day.
Do you mind if I stand? My back is tired of sitting.
Do you know what's so crazy is that no matter standing or sitting, we look the same.
Okay, I'm just going to stand then.
Am I
if that's
wrong or
okay
right?
with everybody.
Wow, snow again. Okay, let's talk about this because we know it is so hard to make ends meet. And
I love this story.
we've been talking about this in the newsroom for the last hour or so.
It really got, especially the younger people in our newsroom
Right.
talking.
Would you prefer a paycheck weekly, daily, or bi-weekly?
Or, yeah.
So most Americans, when surveyed, say they prefer, or would you rather work 4 10-hour days? Do you think that the paycheck system and do you think that the workday needs to be changed?
So, right. Specifically, a lot of people said yes, they want that 4-day work week. But then they said over that, they'd even prefer getting paid more often.
Mhm.
People preferred getting paid weekly. But then we talked about getting paid daily. Would that change your mindset of how much you're making if you were looking at what you were making every day?
I could not believe the younger audience in our newsroom. So we're talking our editor, Erin. We're talking Jordan, our 5 a.m. producer, Adam Campos, Johnny, my boy.
JMB.
Talking about how they would prefer more frequent paychecks at least once a week,
Yes.
if not daily. And I wondered what the benefit is of being paid daily compared to once a week or biweekly. And the survey itself says that people would rather be paid weekly because they are running out of money too fast when
Right.
they're paid bi-weekly.
So people are living paycheck to paycheck. So by the time that next paycheck comes, most of them have already run out of money. Look, the average employee runs out of funds 12 days after they get their paycheck.
Well, and that's just in time to get their next paycheck, right?
Well, barely though, because what if you've got something due on that 13th day? You don't get paid till the 14th day.
Right.
So
That's a good point.
they've got to. I think that's what they were saying too. And you know what? Erin is so cute. She's so funny because she was like basically saying she gets paid and she's like, yeah, money. Look at all the money I have. And then
Then she got an adult.
Come the next week, she's like, oh my gosh, I have to pay for all this stuff.
Connie says weekly. Linda says not daily. Waste of paper. Weekly and bi-weekly is fine. Jillian says weekly or daily. I hate getting bi-weekly pay. I work a 4-day work week and it's so much easier with the family. What's easier? Is it the weekly paycheck or is it the 4-day work week? Which is easier?
Oh, I bet maybe even both.
Sean says daily seems dangerous. Weekly seems logical,
Okay,
but getting
yes.
paid fairly would be even better.
So here was what Ed and I were saying. Okay, let's just take,
to
for
stand too.
example, somebody who makes you want to stand too. You got jealous, huh?
You're right. We've been sitting too much today. Let's get our steps
No,
in a
I
little
really
bit.
just have. So now we're going to bounce on. Okay, so let's take, for example, somebody who makes $50,000 a year, right? Okay, let's divide that by.
Which is probably what? Like, I would say probably the median salary.
I was just picking something that was kind of easy.
Okay, I mean, it makes sense.
Okay, so how many weeks in a year?
52.
Okay, so you're making like $961 per week. Okay, let's say how much of that is taxes? Maybe 30%, right? So we'd multiply it by 0.6 to get that. So now you get like, say, let's say you've got about,
Why 0.6?
because we're keeping 60% of it.
Oh, for 2 weeks?
Yeah, so
paycheck?
so let's say you get about $600 a week after taxes. I'm just rounding up here. You get about $600 a week after taxes, okay? So you'd get, let's say you were just going to do it, if you got paid daily, be 5 days, all right? So let's say you get about $120-ish per day. Would that change your mindset? If you knew how much you were getting paid like per day, like if you were like, I got paid $120 for the day, am I going out to lunch for $20?
No.
And then am I going out to dinner for $30? Am I buying a drink at dinner for $10?
You know what, though? I feel like you have to put that kind of perspective in place no matter what you're buying, right? Like whether you get paid biweekly, monthly, or daily, it's all the same at the end of the day, right? I mean, so I was talking about Taylor Swift tickets. I bought these ridiculously priced Taylor Swift tickets.
This was a splurge.
A splurge. I had to work for a month to pay for these tickets.
And it was a gift too.
Right.
A splurge and a gift.
Yes.
For yourself and your sister.
Yeah. So, when you put that into perspective, is it worth the price? I hope so. I wonder.
I feel like it really might change people's mindset if they look at how much they were making in a day. Because then I would be looking at things. I'm the kind of person who would look at something and say, is that worth the 9 hours I worked today?
Yeah, but what is worth it or what isn't worth it?
I don't know. I just feel like something fleeting for me, like a dinner, would not be worth it.
Okay, so I just had this conversation. I want to go to Jillian's conversation first. 4-day work week, she says, is what she does. She says it's easy for doctors and any appointments needed. Biweekly is difficult with a mortgage and certain other expenses. Melly says, but being paid fairly sounds better. Yeah, absolutely. So I was just having this conversation with my sister.
Marguerite says daily payroll would be a nightmare.
Yeah, hello. No kidding. Because we were having the conversation, what is worth spending the money on and what isn't? And
oh, these are like things that we all think about, right?
Because we were talking about our parents in particular, and I don't know if your parents are like this, but mine certainly were. They did not spend a lot of money growing up. Frankly, we didn't have it, but even still, we saw them save so much money and put it toward their retirement.
Which I think is awesome.
I do too, but at what point do you say, you know what, like I also need to live my life? What's the experience in the present time as opposed to the future?
Okay, so you think they missed out when they were younger to save for their retirement?
Absolutely.
That's fair. But are they enjoying it now? You know what
I mean? No. My mom sits home on her phone. She's very happy and content. She says as long as she's not working, she's happy. But my dad, I mean, like my dad wants to be out doing things, exploring, seeing, and learning. So like, I don't want their money, like it's all going to be gifted to me and my sister once they're gone. And God forbid, I don't ever want to think about that. But you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
you know what my dad likes to joke about reading some book called Die Broke. And he's like,
right.
But that's a concept, right? Then you're using the money that you saved.
Right. But do you know what I mean though? Like I question the idea of putting everything into your retirement and not living in the present.
Okay. Barb hates biweekly pay. Diane says people need to teach themselves to live within their means. Mary said, I'm paid biweekly. I've mastered money management. I divide my bills according to their due dates.
Oh, okay. You know what I often do too? Sometimes I have bills just sent out and taken, a check written out of my bank account on certain days, so you know exactly. Thank you, Jeff. I agree.
Send the kids' inheritance.
I'll be honest with you. Thank God I have a job, and I'm sure I'm not kidding, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Thank God we have jobs, because I don't want my mom's money or my
Sarah
dad's
says
money.
she's with you. What if you save and save and you don't take vacations and you never live long enough to retire?
Right.
I guess you never know what could happen tomorrow.
Julie says you can't take it with you.
That's very true. Sometimes when I have to spend money on something, that's what I have to say to myself. Can't take it with you.
And it's not
you
like
know
you're
me.
not saving though either.
No, but like it's hard. Have you ever had to make like a big purchase for something that like maybe isn't the most exciting? And what comes to mind is like home stuff.
Yeah.
It is wonderful to own your own home and it's very exciting and you could do whatever. But like furnaces,
Yeah, that stuff sucks.
water tank. Like, hey, I'd want to come over and see my new water tank that I just dropped all this money. No.
Wow.
We're going to sit and have a glass of wine and look at the water tank.
We could sit around in a fireside chat.
Look at the little pilot light.
Yeah.
Like, how boring. But you have to spend money on all this stuff.
Okay, so Debbie says I saved a lot of money when I was working for my retirement, and I did a 401k. Now that I'm retired, I'm redoing my house and buying new appliances.
Ooh.
And I'm going to enjoy my life. We go camping. And I never believed in credit cards. They're dangerous. And I tell anybody that wants to get one how dangerous they are. But a lot of people just don't listen. Kim says, though, we live paycheck to paycheck. We're senior citizens and work very hard our lives. Enjoy before you get too old and sick. And that's kind of my point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get to that point where I have so many regrets, or any regrets, to be honest with you, where I could have done something and said, you know what, I didn't want to spend the money then, but now I can't because it's not around.
Lori says, as long as she pays her bills, she lives within the moment now. Jeff says, listen, I don't want anyone to die to get their money. Agreed.
Yeah.
Can
Can you imagine thinking
Jeanette.
like that, though?
Jeanette, it is sad when you get excited about a new appliance, sadly.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I am not looking forward to the day that our refrigerator breaks. I'd like to go on record saying that, but the light in our refrigerator doesn't work and hasn't worked since we bought the house. Okay, the fridge came with the house. It is impossible to fix. My husband has tried to fix it. We had a refrigerator repairman over to try and fix it. So long story short, you know how important the fridge light is? You don't until you don't have one.
Because you can't see anything.
It is such a pain in the you-know-what.
Well, and doesn't Taylor Swift sing about dancing in the refrigerator light?
Well, we can't do it in my house. Light a candle, people, because you can't see a darn thing in there. And you're like, it's the worst. I thought about going to Amazon and getting one of those like pop-on, pop-off ones for inside.
God,
But I'm like,
the
I'm
tap
gonna
lights.
put a battery in my fridge. And
Jeff says you just jinxed yourself, Katie.
I mean, listen,
Though Howard does say that that's what you should do.
that's a first world problem, and I get it, but it is. I go to people's houses and I open their fridge and I'm like,
Ooh.
oh, you can see in your fridge? This is the kind of thing I'll live with.
Diane says if there's something I want, I get it. I don't splurge. A lot of pick and choose. Okay. Cynthia, our fridge is broken a few months ago and needed to buy a new one. Oh gosh. You know what though? I mean, sometimes that's kind of cool though. Like a new refrigerator.
Oh, I know.
It's like, ooh, retail therapy. You
Howard says, no. Now that fridge is going to last for decades.
Jeanette says I have a flashlight for my freezer. It's a mini battery one I keep on the counter. This is how I live in my freezer.
Thank you. Right. Because yes. Our
so funny.
Our freezer light works. Our refrigerator light doesn't. And even the refrigerator guy couldn't fix it.
Okay. So Danielle, my mother passed away unexpectedly at 60. Oh gosh, that's young.
Yeah, so young.
Sorry to hear about that. All her retirement and 401ks, savings bonds, CDs got split amongst me and my 3 siblings equally. I mean, right.
And I guarantee she'd rather still have mom around.
Thank you.
It's
Right.
just, right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's 60 years old.
Yeah.
We're going to be 60 years old in, well, you before I, but.
Unnecessary. Unnecessary comment, unnecessary giggling in the back of the room. John, for the 5th time, I can hear you. Did we not learn that yesterday? With the wrinkles comment.
This is why I love John. Because he's always laughing at me.
Brittany,
At
Brittany,
you.
I like this. She would be okay with my fridge problem. She'd be like, oh my God, this is a beer in my hand. I meant to grab a water. Wine again? Oh, who knew?
We got to get the show on the road. Tomorrow's Friday, everyone. We'll see you then. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.